It is Tuesday, January 11th in the NBA, and I'm back with my 3 best picks of the day. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot. And yesterday, we witnessed something that I don't know if I've ever seen. We had 3 plays in the video, 3 plays that we added later on. We always add them in the comment section down below, and we pin them and we tweet them out at Calling Our Shot. So make sure you're following us there. But let me throw up the recap, because as you see, we went 1 and 2 in the video, 1 and 2 overall on the additional plays, 2 and 4 overall, and 4 of our 6 plays came down to the hook. Unreal. We were absolutely as unlucky as you can get. We had 1 play, Mike Conley under 26.5 PRAs, cashes on the hook, and several people probably got that 25.5 as that is where the line changed. So there's a chance that you lost 5 plays yesterday, 4 of them on the hook. Absolutely as unlucky as it gets. Joel Embiid doesn't play a minute in the 4th quarter, lands on 45. LaMelo Ball, we added in the video, over 31.5 PRAs. Best I can do is 31, as he doesn't do anything in the 4th quarter. And after those first 3 hooks happened, I tweeted out, I feel like this might hit. And of course, it naturally did. Kyrie Irving, we added his over 22.5 points. Best I can do is 22 on the dot. Didn't score for the last 8 minutes of the game. It's just that I don't know how to describe yesterday. It was one of the most unlucky days I have seen in a long, long time. But we can just push past it. Nothing much you can do about it now. It's just been one night, and the hooks have been really bad lately. So definitely try to get the best line that you possibly can. Either way, we're going to keep pushing forward. We're going to forget about it. And if you are new to the channel, consider clicking that subscribe button down below. We're closing in on 20,000 subscribers. We'd love if you wanted to join the community. And if you want to click that like button, share the video with a friend, we would appreciate that as well. Now, I have one question for you guys. Just one request. And that is, we are recording the podcast tonight, as we normally do. We post it Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I want you guys to drop as many questions as you guys want us to answer down below in the comments. If we do choose your question to answer on the podcast, we'll shout you out as well, and we would appreciate it. We're just looking for topics that you guys want to hear from us, and it can be anything you want, and we'll answer it. Now, let us know down below. Now, let's move into today's best bet of the day. Let's forget about all the hooks from yesterday. Let's get into today's best bet of the day, which has been on a pretty good run. Nikola Jokić, over 13.5 rebounds, plus 104 on FanDuel. I've seen many books have this at plus value. I don't see the line changing to 14.5, so I don't expect to see your questions. If someone asks if I like the over at 12.5, I'm not even answering that question, because of course I do. Now, over 13.5 rebounds. Today we have the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokić, taking on the Clippers. And while 14 rebounds might seem like a lot, not a lot to Jokić these days, as he's averaging 14.2 rebounds per game on the season and averaging 15.2 over his last 5 games. Now, in his last 8 games as a whole, here are his following rebound numbers: 18, 10, 21, 16, 11, 19, 22, and 21 rebounds. So he's had 16 or more rebounds in 6 of his last 8 games. Well, we only need 14 today, and I think he can get that done against the Clippers on the road. And lucky for us, they have Zubac back. Ivica Zubac is back starting for the Clippers, which is awesome, because Zubac, no offense, you don't have much of an outside game. You don't shoot 3-pointers, you don't shoot mid-ranges. Your whole game is in the paint, and that means Jokić, who already camps out in the paint pretty often, will just be camping out there again. Now, these 2 teams played back on December 26th. Jokić, he only had 22 rebounds on 33 rebound chances. Borderline insane. The man's a glitch. And over his last 8-game stretch, he's been averaging over 17 rebounds per game and averaging over 25 rebound chances per game, which is on par with Rudy Gobert for the most in the league. Now, you look at it over those last 8 games, there's only been one guy that's been averaging a good amount of rebound chances. His name is Will Barton, and he's been averaging 8.6 rebound chances, second most on the team. Well, Will Barton is out today. He will no longer be active, as are several other guys for the Nuggets, and they just traded Bol too. Not that Bol gets any time. We'll maybe take a Bol prop for the Pistons later. But look, Jokić had 22 rebounds versus the Clippers just a couple weeks ago. Previous game versus Clippers, 14 rebounds. And the Clippers' last 7 games, they've actually been allowing a ton of rebounds, especially to just individual guys. This is just in their last 7 games. They allowed 15 rebounds to Brandon Clark of the Grizzlies, 14 to Jalen Smith of the Suns, 19 to Pascal Siakam of the Raptors, and 14 to Robert Williams of the Boston Celtics. So you've seen a ton of players hit this over that aren't necessarily as good of rebounders as Jokić is, and I think Jokić can get this done at plus value. Absolutely sign me up. Nikola Jokić over 13.5 rebounds, plus 104. I'm all in. Now let's move on to another play. We're going with an under, the same exact number. Lonzo Ball under 13.5 points, minus 120 on FanDuel. Now, after what LaMelo did to us last night, It's only right we get back at the Ball brothers and we're fading this one tonight. Now Lonzo, let's be honest, he's been pretty solid this season. He's really kind of improved as an NBA player as he's averaging 12.9 points per game on 41.8% shooting from three-pointer. Most of his shots come from three. I believe he's 41.8 from three, 41.6 from the field. So pretty much all of his shots are coming from three. And I still feel like this line's a little bit too high because we look at, Lonzo has improved. Now his numbers are not what they were last year with the Pelicans, but that's to be given because he's playing with Nikola Jokić, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine, and all of them are healthy and ready to go. Now, they're taking on a Pistons team who's coming off a back-to-back, and I got to give the Pistons a round of applause because yesterday they were down by 20 points to the Utah Jazz, who were 12-point favorites, and they said, not so fast, and they came back and won that game by 10 points, just absolutely upsetting the Jazz. And I saw a bunch of Jazz players tweeting out like, it's not over, or whatever, frustration, whatever. And either way, it was an emotional victory for the Pistons. And today, I have a feeling they might come out flat, and so do the sportsbooks, as they currently have the Pistons as 14-point or maybe even 15-point underdogs at this rate. And over the past two games, Lonzo Ball has shot the ball pretty well from three-pointer, and I got to give him credit because that's where the majority of his shots come. He's been shooting over 50% from three the last two games in the season, but he's yet to string together 3 games this season when he shot the ball super well. So he's doing a little bit of negative regression today. Since returning from injury, he's played in 3 games. All of those games with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Nikola Jokić, he scored 3, 18, and 9 points. So going under pretty easily in 2 of those 3 games. He's certainly capable of hitting this over. I mean, he's a guy that shoots a bunch of threes. If he gets hot, he's going to hit this over. But they've played the Pistons twice this season, both happening earlier on in the season. The first week, he scored 13 and 12 points. He attempted 12 shots in both of those 2 games. And if you look at it over the past 3 games, with all the guys healthy, he's attempted 7, 11, and 8 shots. Nowhere near. Well, the guys got somewhat close to that 12-shot attempt number, but not really close to it in the majority of the other games. We look at it, Brooklyn Nets are on the docket. They have a date with them tomorrow against the Brooklyn Nets at home, taking on them. And so I would imagine the Bulls want to get up early in this game and rest their starters if they can. Now put away the Pistons early, who are on the back-to-back, and they got a back-to-back coming for the Bulls themselves. And I just imagine they want to at least get ready, get rested to really test their, their skill against this one of the most elite teams in the league, being the Brooklyn Nets. So we're taking Lonzo's under today in points, and we're riding with it under 13.5 points. Now, before we get into my final bet, I wanted to take Fred VanVleet's overs, but I'm a little bit skeptical of the Suns. I respect Mikal Bridges too much, and Fred VanVleet's been insane this season, but I'm going to fade him today. I'm just only going to have these 3 plays most likely, but which I don't blame you if you want to take Fred VanVleet. He's been on an absolute tear. We're going with another guy, and we're going with his under, and it's a star player. Brandon Ingram. I'm taking this under 35.5 PRAs, minus 104 on FanDuel. Now, if you don't have PRAs, probably go with his points under if you had to, but it's up to you. Now, let's talk about Brandon Ingram, because let's be honest, he's a pretty good player in the NBA. It's not like we're fading a scrub here. Brandon Ingram is pretty solid, and the last time we took an under for him, he was the best bet of the day, and he cashed for us. He treated us very nicely. Now, he did get injured in that game, so he cashed pretty easily in the first quarter. But since returning from injury, hasn't played all that well. He's played in 4 games. He's had 21, 27, 49, and 31 PRAs, as he's cashed us under in 3 of 4 games. And today, taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And so, while the Timberwolves might not, might in your head, might come into the connotation with this team plays absolutely no defense. It's not 100% true. They do have the 7th rated defense in the league. And now normally when these 2 teams do match up, it's high scoring. And that's okay because when it all comes down to it, just has to be Ingram that has to go under. And now Ingram on the season is averaging 33.6 PRAs per game. So 2 below this line. I believe like 22 point something points per game, which his regular line is like 23.5, 24.5 if you can find it. Now, today, what I'm really banking on is Jared Vanderbilt, the starting power forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And while you might not know who that is, he's going to be matched up on Brandon Ingram today, and I think that is where our advantage lies. Because then, if you look at the 3 games they've played this season, the Timberwolves and Pelicans have played 3 times already. Ingram is at 40, 36, and 21 PRA. So he's actually ruined our under in 2 of the 3 games, going over 2 of the 3. So, and finishing once, one of those times was on the hook, which would be right on cue today. Now, normally you'd think, well, why are we taking a bet where he's gone over twice and under once, and we're taking the under? Well, the 1 game he went under, guess who started? Jared Vanderbilt. The other 2 games, Jared Vanderbilt was MIA. He only played about 10 minutes, and none of them came against Brandon Ingram. But today he will be starting, and we'll be guarding Brandon Ingram absolutely. And in that 1 game, Brandon Ingram was guarded by Jared Vanderbilt, 21 PRAs. He shot 2 for 13 from the field, 6 turnovers. While I don't expect that bad of a shooting performance or that bad of a performance in general, I do think Jared Vanderbilt is very underrated. He's not normally a guy that gets a lot of praise, but this is a guy that's very good on defense. It's not the guy that you want to attack if you're the Pelicans team. You're going to attack guys like Karl Anthony Towns, maybe D'Angelo Russell, maybe Anthony Edwards. All those guys, you're not attempting to attack Jared Vanderbilt. So combine Ingram returning from injury, going up against the Timberwolves with Jared Vanderbilt, And a team that he doesn't have a great success rate against. Sure, he's hit this over 2 of 3 times, but in his career, he's gone under in 5 of 8 matchups versus against the Timberwolves, and you got to go up against the man, the myth, the legend, Jared Vanderbilt. So Ingram, perfectly capable of hitting this over, but I'm going to bet against the numbers and the personnel here. Plus, the Pelicans are as healthy as they're going to get, really, without Zion Williamson, obviously. So they got plenty of other guys that take a bunch of shots. So we're riding Brandon Ingram under 35.5 PRAs. Now that's going to wrap it up. Like I said earlier, if you want to drop any questions down below, let me know. If you want to answer us, if you want us to answer them on the podcast, we'd appreciate you guys for tuning in. And now subscribe if you enjoyed the video by chance. Let's bounce back after a weird hook Monday yesterday that we just encountered. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Peace out.